There are two kinds of people in this world. The people who fail to do what they know they should, and those who keep doing things they know they shouldn't. Guess what? You're both. Hi, I'm your host, life and business coach, Marcy Barker, aka your loving kick in the pants. In this podcast, I'll teach you the 6 steps of my accountability code that will help you wake up with clarity and show up with aligned action steps that make follow through easy and peaceful. All right, let's jump in. Good morning, my beautiful people. I am so excited for another solo episode because I'm getting more prepared and I did some research for this one. Last week, we talked about sharing value on social media, but more importantly, giving your clients what they want so you can build a real relationship that is sustainable for you. Now, this week, I wanted to talk about how companies or businesses advertise to you. Sometimes it's a really big turn on, which obviously you pull out your wallet for, and then other times you're like, no, please don't. That didn't even work. I want nothing to do with you, okay? So I posted on social media in a couple different places, and I got submissions to help illustrate the importance of advertising in a way that makes sense and building a sustainable business. So when I got the submissions, I was super excited because I want to do more of this. I want to share the things that are going on in your life. And I also want to bring the mastermind part of what I do in my business to podcast form so that you can get actionable tips and steps to incorporate immediately. Okay. The reason why it's important to understand how to advertise appropriately is because a lot of people just go out there on social media, especially. A lot of people think that, oh, my friend is making money from social media, or they just posted and their post got a lot of comments and they're getting business, and maybe I should start doing that. Because it's no joke. Like, everybody has the opportunity to make money from social media. Gone are the days where you had to go and get an ad in the newspaper or post on your local classified ads, or even like old school, way before my time, like getting a TV spot or a radio spot. Like, those are before my time. I would never even consider doing those for my business. However, let me tell you the most old school thing I did. Okay, this is a little bit of a tangent, but it totally makes sense. I was running my business and I got a call from this person that was like, do you want more leads in your area of people who are super close locally? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I can start there. Like, yes, I want to go nationally and internationally, but there's nothing wrong with going very local to where I am right now. So this person, they came to my house and we talked about shopping cart ads. Okay. I know you all have seen them, but I'm sadly going to say I bet a small number of you have ever actually called a number on your shopping cart, right? The reason why I believed this was a good avenue to entertain is because I was somebody who has called an ad on a shopping cart before, okay? So I let this person into my house. I'm not even going to lie to you. Her name was Nancy. And Nancy was like this 80-year-old lady that comes in and she starts talking about how she's been in the advertising space for 60 years and she's seen it all, and nothing will work like an ad that gets your attention. So I was like, okay, I'm listening. And keep in mind, like, I believe this was a good idea because I had shopped from a shopping cart ad before. So back at this time, oh geez, what year was this? Maybe like 2018? I don't know. Yeah, that's got to be around there, 2018 or so. And I was doing personal training and nutrition. I also had gotten a few clients that paid me to meal prep with them, and I had a couple clients who even paid me to go grocery shopping with them. So I thought this was a good idea. I wouldn't mind doing more of that. Like, I'm at the grocery store anyway. Why not get paid, $200 to go shopping with somebody? So that was a reality in my life at that time as a personal trainer and nutrition coach. So I keep going with this conversation with Nancy, and she's like, this is amazing. You'll become a celebrity. She had testimonials of people sharing how everybody in their town knew who they were, and it brought them business. And if you guys know anything about me, talk to my ego, and that's how you're going to get me to do something. And so I really like this idea of me having my face on the shopping carts at the local grocery store, where she told me 30,000 people see the carts in a month's period. So we're talking more about this, and it comes down to the price. And I paid $4,000 to get my ad and my face on shopping carts at the local grocery store that was 1 mile from my house. And this was a big deal. Like in 2018, I was not making a lot of money. Like if I remember correctly, 2018 was the year I had a whole team of personal trainers, and I think I capped out at like $66,000 that year. And let me just, yes, that sounds like a lot if you're starting out, or, that was my 3rd year in business. I was paying everybody else. Like that money that I made, I paid all of my trainers' paychecks with that. So $4,000, it was a big expense, and it was something that I had never ever done before. So I did not have that money in my business to invest. So I talked to my husband, and we decided to try it out, and we pulled the money from our personal account and we went with it. Okay, so then I go down to the grocery store and I start doing some research of like, what should I put on these ads? I'm going to start talking to people who are a small percentage of that 30,000 people who are going to see my ad. What do they want to see? So I walk up to a lady in the grocery store and I'm like, hey, I am a personal trainer, nutrition coach, and I am going to have my ad on these shopping carts. And I'm wondering what you would like to see. And she said, what ads? And I said, on the shopping cart right there. And she's like, oh, I didn't even know there were ads there. And I was like, okay, let me just take note of that. I had a clipboard, like I literally was doing my research. So I walked to the next person, same thing. Hey, I'm a personal trainer, nutrition coach. I'm going to put an ad on the shopping cart. I'm just wondering what people would like to see. And they're like, what ad? And I said, this one right here. And she's like, oh, I always put my purse there. Like I didn't even know there were ads there. And so I was like, this is not a good trend at all. Like I already signed my name on the dotted line, and I'm not, I think I made a big mistake. So I'm like, I'm not giving up. Like I'm doing this. I'm going to go pay for my ad. Like I have to figure out something that's going to work. So I talked to a few more people. I even talked to the manager of the store, and I was like, hey, I'm going to put my ads in the carts. What are your opinions on them? And he's like, I don't even think anybody looks at those ads. And I was so mad because the stats that they sold me did not seem true at all. And I was a little irritated. But I talked to another person. I was like, okay, I'm a personal trainer, nutrition coach, and went through the whole spiel. And I said, what would you guys like to see? And somebody was like, oh, you need a hot girl on there. Like a before and after works. And I was like, oh my, I don't know what I'm going to do here. And obviously I'm not going to go put half naked photos on the shopping cart to advertise my business, because that just wasn't even something that was in alignment with me. And there, of course, are guidelines with the ad that it needs to be family friendly. So I just was like, that's not even an option. So I'm going through the process of creating this ad with this company, and they suggested the same thing, like put a before and after photo of somebody in a bikini. And I was like, you know what? Let me try, because I'm going to have to grab their attention somehow. And luckily I had a client who she was willing to share her before and after photos, and they are amazing. And I put them on the cart along with my phone number, my website. And you guys, after 1 whole year of my face being on the shopping cart, 0 people called my phone number to hire me. So with that, I learned that there are lots of modes of advertising that are not going to be right for you. And my goal with this podcast is to put some things into perspective so that you are aligned in what you're doing. Hey listeners, the message of waking up and showing up is yours for the taking. In fact, it's free. I've recorded my entire audiobook, and I'd love for you to consume it between episodes. Head to marcybarker.com to get instant access to the accountability code Wake Up and Show Up. All right, let's jump back in. So not only are there people just like me being taken advantage of with different social media and advertising agencies that they're not getting the results that are promised, but people are consistently trying different things in hopes of increasing their bottom line, okay? Another thing that I want you to recognize is that you got to get your advertising right, because you only have one time to make a first impression. So everything that you put out there is going to send some sort of message to the people who see it. The last thing that I want you to recognize is that trying all of these different things is just not a sustainable business practice if you don't hone in on something that is right for your business and then you learn to be consistent with it. You have to be doing something long enough to track those stats, to collect the data, to see what's even working, okay? Deep breath, you guys. I hope that you don't fall into any of the situations that I just experienced or I told you about. But I do want you to know that if you have gone through something like that, I'm here for you. I know what it feels like to take a big leap and then for it to be like, oh man, that was a mistake. It was a waste of money. Okay. Before I end the podcast episode, I am going to tell you the good things that did happen from me taking the leap and learning from that experience, okay? But first, I want to tell you, okay, so what happens if you don't solve this problem? What happens if you continue to just spray and pray? That's what a lot of people call it. You just put stuff out there and that you hope that somebody takes a bite and they go to your website and they buy all the things that you have, okay? Usually that doesn't happen. Sorry. Another thing that is going to happen if you don't fix this problem is that you are going to face burnout, because you're going to try and put out all of this content that doesn't actually convert. And that gets really, really tiring. Not only is it going to take a toll on your time, but on your motivation as a business owner. It really sucks to go in business day after day after day and not make any sales or not bring in any income. Okay? I don't want you to go through the same thing I did, where you're just praying that something will work, but you haven't really done the research to see if it's right for you. And I want you guys to recognize, like, the accountability code, it can be applied to anything that you're working on in your business, okay? All right, let's dive into the fun part. These are the submissions that we got when I asked, what's your biggest turn off when companies are trying to advertise to you, and what's your biggest turn on? What are things that make you feel like you want to move forward with this business or this company, okay? So the first thing that somebody said, biggest turn off, is when the business talks about how much money they make. And this one probably could use a little bit more context, because as a business coach, I feel like talking about how much money I make in certain situations is very helpful to my clients who are also trying to make a lot of money. But I did post a cute video in my group, Lady Bosses of Utah, because Leah, my 9-year-old, she's getting ready for our next mother-daughter retreat. And I asked her to make a video. And I said, okay, why don't you just post about the mother-daughter retreat, and let's see if we can get some more people who are interested in it. And she turns on the video and she's like, today's going to be a great day. I'm going to make some sales. And I had to stop her and say, is that your sales video? Because that's not how we tell people that we want them to come to our retreat, is just to buy stuff from us. So that was a really cute learning experience. But this person with their submission has a really, really good point, is that if somebody knows you're trying to make a buck, then you're not speaking to what they really need or what they really want. Another person said a turnoff is, for me, it's when they trash how others do things just because it's different than their way. I love when the business points out their strengths and what makes them stand out. But if they're intentionally pointing out what other businesses do poorly just to build themselves up, it's an immediate no for me. This one makes a lot of sense to me. I've been following another business coach who I attended a free training that she did for 3 days in a row. And I had my pocketbook ready to hire another coach. And so I already went into the situation with, I'm going to pay some money. I'm going to invest in myself and a new coach if I feel like it's right. And unfortunately, that's all I encountered, was she talked about how everybody was doing everything wrong. And as soon as we signed up for her stuff, like, our life was going to change. And that I unfollowed her and I took her out of the running of potential coaches that I want to work with. Another person said, a big turnoff is getting inundated on LinkedIn messaging one message is enough. If I'm interested, I will respond. So that's a really interesting thing too, because I had another person message me wanting to know if I was interested in a VA for a super inexpensive price. And I was like, sure, you can send me details. And this was over a holiday weekend, and they messaged me like 4 times. And I straight up told them, I was like, I told you I was interested, but why are you bothering me? Like, it was a holiday. I'll tell you when I'm ready to get started. So keep that in mind too, because a lot of times business owners think that that's what solid follow-up looks like. But if you are not getting a response and you're constantly sending out messages to people, like, imagine how that would be face to face. If you're in the same area as somebody and you just keep approaching them and they have no response, like, read the room online. Like, if they're not responding, just straight up ask them, hey, when is a good time to get back to you? I mean, and then just wait. Hopefully you don't have to be a super annoying person to capture a sale or a conversion, because that doesn't sound sustainable at all. Okay, as I was getting submissions in, I was like, maybe we change this question and it's not so much about the biggest turnoffs, but what are the things that turn you on? So take notes. I encourage you to have a pencil and a paper, or take notes on your phone. If any of these seem like they would be good for your business, then try them out. Or better yet, you can even book a call with me, a free call, and we can brainstorm the things that you think will work in your business, and then I can help you become super aligned and take the best action. Okay, another person said the biggest turn on. I asked, can you pinpoint the moment you decided to pull your wallet out and easily give someone money? And somebody said, speaking about my pain points and how they can help me solve them. So that's perfect. Do you understand the emotional reasons why somebody would actually pay you money? I learned this from a coach years and years ago, and I thought it was actually kind of mean at first when she was like, you need to just rub their problem in their face. Like, you need to make it so big and you need to make it hurt so bad that they have enough awareness to be like, this problem sucks and I need to fix it. And at first I was like, that is mean. Like, I don't like when people do that to me. However, if you do it with tact and you do it with permission, and you do it when the client is open and ready to hear that, I can tell you, like, that is solid advice to speak to the pain points and then help people recognize that you have the solution to their problems. Another person said, referrals are big for me. I always ask around to people I'm close with and ask what they love. So if you can get your clients talking about you, that is a big game changer, because it is called transferred trust. If I do good to one of my clients and they talk highly of me to somebody that trusts them, that does so much. And I did an extended mastermind at my home where I taught people in depth about a certain topic. And one person, she brought 4 people with her, people that I didn't even know. And that was because she trusted me. I've helped her. And even though she hasn't signed up for one of my big coaching packages, she brought me very valuable people to add to my community. So if you are not finding that clients are talking about you, that's something that I would dive into and figure out why. Another person said, for me, repeat exposure and FOMO get me. If you guys don't know what FOMO is, it is fear of missing out. She said, but I also have to see and understand the value of what I'm getting and that it will actually work. So repeat exposure. Now, this is a big one that companies, especially small businesses on social media, are like, I just have to pump out content, pump it out and make sure I'm seen. That is a good tactic if you know where you want to send people next. I recently taught on my mastermind call, my Wake Up and Show Up mastermind. I talked about attracting clients, and one of my clients said, I signed up with you because I saw you everywhere. I saw you making posts, I saw people talking about you, and I saw people sharing their results because of working with you. So I am super grateful for that. And repeat exposure doesn't always have to be a selfie and an inspirational post. Like, repeat exposure should include, I call it my content wheel that I learned from one of my clients, and I used to call it 5 pillars. Like, every time you post about yourself or your business, it should fit into the framework of what encompasses you as a person and a business owner. So anytime that you are working for repeat exposure, it doesn't have to be the exact same thing. It can just fit into your wheelhouse of what you want to provide. Okay, we have a couple more. Another person said a biggest turn on is when people share how it's helped them. So again, she's talking about testimonials or transferred trust, where if people can see that they're getting results from somebody, like they are going to want the results for them as well. And this particular person who commented, it was actually pretty cool because this person was one of those friends that other person brought with them to my mastermind. And I actually got on a call with them today, and we have a collaboration in the works. And she just happens to have a daughter who wants to come to our next mother-daughter retreat. So sharing testimonials and sharing progress will speak for itself. So if you don't have that in your plan of getting advertising out there, like that needs to be one of your staples, is social proof, but actually demonstrating how what you provide is the solution for that person and more people that they may know. Okay, another person said for a turn on is it's all about the vibe. I prefer to be honest with clients rather than make a sale, and I expect the same from others. That comment got a lot of likes, and I 100% agree. Somebody else said, when I can see that they understand me and don't judge me. All right, this is a big one. Understanding your ideal client is just like speaking to their pain point. If you can speak their language, they're going to find that community or that common ground that they resonate with, and people always will do business with people that they know, like, or trust. Another person said, when I'm ready for what they're teaching, when I resonate with how they teach, and when I vibe with who they are. This is gold, because if you are involved in a community of like-minded individuals where you can all serve each other and collaborate and build off of one another, you're going to find so many clients there. AKA, if you are local to Utah, you need to join Lady Bosses of Utah. And then the last submission said, word of mouth is key for me. And we've talked about that. They said, if one of my neighbors has had a good experience, I'm more apt to listen. So I hope that by listening to this podcast, you have your wheels turning of like, what can I do better? What have I not considered in my business? What do I need to do to really get the word out there in a way that is authentic and sustainable? Because I don't want you to fall into the trap of just doing the same thing over and over again and it's not really getting results. Like, we know that that's the definition of insanity. And I would dare say that that's also a lack of accountability, because you're not really owning up to the possibilities of what your business and your life could be if you just changed it a little bit. So I want you to know that I do free calls all the time to talk about stuff like this, like why aren't things working, or what's the next step for you? Who do you need to know? Who needs to be in your network? What's the next piece of the puzzle for you? Like, that is my favorite thing to do. So I hope that by listening to this podcast, you have a better idea of the importance of advertising in a way that makes sense for you and for your ideal clients. So I am looking forward to way more submissions. I think that it is really fun to do. I like giving my commentary on other people's comments that is not in the form of social media. Like, I like to dive into these things and really give you actionable steps that you can do to implement into your business and your life right away. So if you have not yet, get the audiobook of the accountability code, because it will help you understand how being aligned is going to make follow through more easy and more peaceful, and when it comes to business, more profitable as well. So I will catch you next week. I think next week we're going to talk about giving and getting good and bad reviews, and I'm excited for that topic. So I will catch you next week. Hey friends, I want to thank you for listening to this episode of Your Loving Kick in the Pants. If you got any value out of this episode, I would love for you to drop me a review or share with a friend what you learned. All right, I'll see you next Wednesday for Your Loving Kick in the Pants.